We're back in the book. Today's topic, the Fourth Legion. The Iron Warriors. Fourth Legion of the Legiones Astartes. She's going to be a whole fool in this video. Can't help myself, won't help myself. The Fourth Legion was the cold-hearted battering ram of the Great Crusade. A maul used to tear down every impregnable fortress or unassailable citadel that dared to stand in the path of the Emperor's will. The Iron Warriors became a byword for relentless, punishing warfare and for mastery in siegecraft, both in defense and assault. They took no pleasure in their duty, nor did they shirk from it. They saw war only in terms of cold, hard logic, ensuring that the arithmetic and calculus of bodies and machines sent unto the meat grinder was always made to balance in their favor. And defeat was an anathema to the Legion, and victory worth any price paid in blood. The Fourth Legion was ever dutiful, ever reliable, but never lauded. It was a legion deserving of every glory enjoyed by its brothers. But time and time again, it was overshadowed, a shining blade blunted in the mud of 100 worlds. During the long and grueling years the Legion spent on campaign, its warriors became embittered and distrusting of the great crusade which they served, and resentment festered in their hearts. Ooh, Iron Warriors. Primarch Perturabo. If I wasn't such a Fulgrim fan, I'd be a Perturabo friend. And let's face it, friends, we know that Fulgrim did Perturabo dirty. we know. I know. I'm well aware. Okay? How many times have I read from the Angel Exterminatus on this channel? I know what he did. He did it. But no, this is I forgot my intro. Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. Anywho, where was I? The Iron Warriors are so interesting because all of the traitor legions have very different reasons for being traitors. And I would liken the Iron Warriors closest to what happens to companies that don't take care of their employees. Not talking about any particular company. Please don't type names down in the comments. Just making a generalization. It could be anything from a 2-person company to a 2 million-person company. Okay? Company's a company. When you have to engage in an undertaking, it's going to take more than yourself and your own resources. It really helps to treat people well. That's the nicest way I can say that. What is the great business mantra of the day? People don't quit companies. They quit managers. They quit people. They quit environments. People may like the company as a whole they work for, but if the people, team, whatever they work for is not treating them what their perception of well is, then yeah, people find other ways to make a living. You know, I can only speak from the perspective of I've worked at more than one large corporation in my life, so we're going to go way back and not talk about anything in my life today. But, there was one company that I worked for only about 6 months. It was really short. And I was in my early 20s at the time. It was after I left my first major corporation. I was job hunting. This is the one that I got. Because once you get into one of them, you can get into a bunch of them. It's good to have them on your resume. Act right. But it was miserable. Let me tell you. So it was a call center, and that's all the info you get. But in this particular call center, it was relentless. Like I think the most calls I took in a day in that call center was like 160. It was now granted some of those were transfers, but it was grueling. Like can I even say this? Well, I'm gonna say it anyway. There was a help desk in the call center, and you'd think their job was to help. No, if you were on a call too long, which is called call time, if you were taking too long with the customer, they would literally come and stand behind you and be like, "So why aren't you going faster?" Not offering any assistance. They were just there to remind you that you're going too slow, even if it's the customer. Um, One of my coworkers, if this was me, I'd have lost my job that day. Let me preface this. And you might want to plug your ears for 30 seconds because I'm about to say something real. Just nobody said that. Yeah, they did. We had it recorded. But she took a call and she was on the escalation team. And a customer said to her, I don't even know what the escalation was about. And I'll be honest, that we all heard the call. She wasn't yelling at her or anything. We could hear the customer through her earphones. Like that's how outrageous the customer was being. And she was just being very calm, very understanding. She'd been doing the job for ages. Nothing fazed her. And this customer said to her, I kid you not. This is the part where you fast forward 30 seconds. She said, I think it was better when you people were still out in the field picking cotton. I'm not repeating that again. A customer said that to our rep. And I would have lost all my religion that day. But this darling senior lady said to her, well, I'll pray for you. And then kept on going with the call. I was like, oh, you way better than me. But also, I was like 24 at the time, something like that. I don't know, 24, 25, somewhere in there. Ages ago. I was like, wow. Um, we actually had a fire in our building, and to keep us on the phones, the fire alarms were turned off. One time, somebody found our call center and wanted to come in who did not work there. And they didn't tell us that there was a person out front violently trying to make their way in. Use your imagination. Yeah, those are real stories. I got more. um, and the response from the leaders I had at the time when I'm out here just being horrified by one thing after another was just like, are you getting paid? I was like, that's not the point. I don't feel safe here. Like, um, I mean, is my car gonna get like something happen to it in the parking lot? Like, what's going on? Call centers like that tend to run through people pretty quickly. You call a call center and they sound bedraggled, weighed down, and just done with life. It's cause they are. Just being real. Some places are miserable to work at and they lose people. The reason they keep people is because everybody needs a job. And there are folks who will let whatever be their environment to keep that job. But eventually, people get up in arms about the things going on, and they either, cause an insurrection within the company or they leave. You better hope they leave because, the rabbles of rows, they the ones that gon' get the Teamsters after you. That like there's some out there that you crossing the wrong way, they take you down with them. They're going scorched earth. And that's the problem the emperor created. He flat didn't value the vast majority of his legions. Everybody knew Horus was the favorite. Everybody knew. Some were cool though, like the friend, like if I'm friend with the favorite son, well that puts me in like the same level as the favorite. It doesn't. It does not. But amongst the Primarchs, amongst the sons of the emperor, there were friendships forged. And somehow, post heresy, Perturabo and Fulgrim formed the most unusual friendship. We'll get into that in a minute. Um, but these legionaries who were taken as children, young children, from their homes, from their families, to forget them after so much conditioning, both physically and mentally, to be turned into something that can barely be called human, the Astartes. Because it's more than just, ooh, you a big fighty, punchy guy. No, I mean, you got 3 hearts. You can drink acid. You're not human anymore if you can drink acid and live. You can walk out in space for 20 minutes and be okay. No, you're not human anymore. They let them have their dream. Perturabo's legion, the Iron Warriors, they warred because they were created to war. They did the job. But they are the ones who are asking, well, why are we doing this job? For what? For who? I mean, we'll do the job, but why? Give me a why. Because I'm this close to just quitting or taking you down with me. What are we doing? We going to figure this out, or are we going scorched earth? Those are the only options. That's the Iron Warriors. A little more about them. Iron Within. From its inception, the Fourth Legion's gene seed was highly adaptable, and rates of implant rejection were low. This meant that the Fourth Legion's strength was built rapidly, expanding to several full battalions, while other nascent legions were little more than company musters. In turn, the Fourth Legion was swiftly put to active service. Thanks to its gene seed, it was the most numerous legion in the first years of the Great Crusade, and its forces were split between several of the first expeditionary fleets. The fourth quickly proved itself in battle, and for a time ranked highly upon the honor rolls of the Imperium. It was large enough to remain autonomous from the influence of the newly found Primarchs, and remained stubbornly regimented in structure and doctrine. The Legion earned a reputation of approaching each enemy with an unaltered pattern of warfare, facing it down with a relentless and meticulously applied force, alone rather than cunning heroics or choices. This was a double-edged blade, for as other legions attained their own characters, they looked down upon the fourth as unimaginative, mechanistic, and even honorless. Conversely, to the Great Crusade's high command, these traits were desirable, making the fourth more reliable and more ready to accept command without complaint. You ever had people get mad at you for doing your job, for doing exactly what you were hired to do? The fourth is out here being what they were created to be. Oh, granddad said we make war. Okay, we make war. What do you mean you're making war? Your heart's not in it. No, it's a job. To some people, the job is just a job, and you should let them be, because everybody got a purpose. The person that is like keeping that status quo, they don't cause you problems, but they're not out there, winning battles that are exemplary, but they keeping those lights on, they're keeping you paid. Let them be. Look, let them be. Let them be. Let her be. Okay? Just let them do their thing. Don't antagonize them. You know what? Heck, don't encourage them to try to do something they don't want to do. I have known people who have gone into certain lines of work in call centers and other really rigid types of jobs, and they like it and do it because they like rigidness and they like monotony. Let them have that job. Don't get them like you should become a no, they should not. Everybody don't want that. Let them be what they want to be. Let them have it. The fourth was out here being the fourth. They weren't excellent. They weren't bad. They were doing the job. And everybody around them, well, they're doing the job. But, I mean, why can't they do the job this way? Why can't they have a little more in doing the job? You know what? You know what? My umph was I got out of bed today and made it to the office. That was my umph. That is what the Fourth Legion is saying. Am I here? Did I show up? Did I storm the Citadel? Did I bring down the heretic and the Xenos? Well, leave me alone. Let me go put on my robe, put my feet up on my stool, turn on my TV, and drink my tea and leave me alone until the next battle. I will see you when it's time for the next battle. Exit that way. That is the Fourth Legion. But when Horus is made War Master, and then the War Master is corrupted, and then the War Master realizes that the Emperor will cast them all aside when his great Imperium is established, and there is no more need for war. That's what really caused the heresy. Yes, each one of the Primarchs have within them a seed that could be corrupted. Because guess what? That is the human condition. No one's perfect. We can all be corrupted by something, and corruption is relative. Because let me tell you, what do they say? History written by the winners. Okay? Right? It's written by the winners. And Horus decided that he wanted to be the one to write the history book. Our father has deceived us. While he elevates me to War Master, he simultaneously plots my end. He makes me a beautiful, perfect being, mightiest of his sons, a demigod in unknown universe. And yet you and I shall have an end unworthy of such a being as I. That I simply cannot abide. So I will give in to the god of decay. And with this hand of Nurgle I shall blight his imperium. That which he rose to be perfect and unassailable, I shall bring low into the greatest and most gruesome of shame. That was off the top of my head. Yeah, this is what happens when you read too much, especially too much Warhammer. Black Library, why ain't y'all hired me? Anyway, I'm joking. Kinda. Anyway, moving on to our namesake for the Legion, Perturabo. Let's talk about Purdy. The Primarch Perturabo. I'm out of control today. I don't know what's wrong with me. And Perturabo was a ruthless and effective warlord, a master strategist whose razor-edged mind could fathom the hidden weakness in any enemy and exploit it with savage, decisive action. A window just popped up in front of me that I did not ask to pop up, ruining my reading. His capacity for learning was incredible, and his intellectual curiosity insatiable. He was gifted above all others in scientific and technical intelligence. However, from the outset, he was a distant, calculating mastermind who cared not for others nor readily deigned to explain his actions or intentions. This mattered little in the context of his use of weapons for the Great Crusade. However, for Perturabo was a formidable and could deconstruct and overcome any obstacle or cast down any foe. When united with his legion, he reviewed their record. Boy, I flubbed that, didn't I? He reviewed their record and their doctrines against the legions of his brothers and found the fourth wanting. It was not enough for Perturabo that they were merely superior. Their failing was that amongst the legions that they were not already supreme. His punishment was a decimation, putting 1 in 10 of his legion's warriors to death. While outsiders were horrified by this seemingly wasteful action, to Perturabo it was a calculated and a cathartic act, purging his legion and by extension himself of weakness which pervaded it, and proving to all that he was first among his brothers, ruthless, decisive, and with willpower. From strength cometh iron. The Iron Litany. You know, in the beginning, Perturabo unfortunately had the same point of view as the Emperor. I tell you what, the Emperor is the cause of all his problems. Parents. Anyhow, they applaud my legion for getting the job done, yet they disdain my legion for not doing it well enough. They could be the greatest of warriors. Are you weak? Are you imperfect? Do you lack decisiveness? Then you must be purged. And he purged. 1 in 10? That's 10%. You know what 10% of thousands is? They were the most prolific legion at one time. So at least, I'm going to say, because some of these legions had over a million, couple of million dudes in them. I'm going to say at least 10 to 20,000 just gone. Because he said, you too weak. And everybody else had to straighten up. Perturabo has to be fair, all of the Primarchs have a unique gift. His is that of being a great calculator in the way of raising great edifices and mazes. He has a mind for building. So in the Angel Exterminatus, yeah, we're back there. See how I did that? We came back. In the Angel Exterminatus, you have to say it that way. Say it with me. Exterminatus. Like dreadnought. It's not dreadnought. It's dreadnought. Say it right. I'm on one today. Um, Fulgrim has Perturabo thinking that he has access to some kind of crazy weapon, not really realizing that Fulgrim's trying to go full Chaos Demon, but whatever. And Fulgrim, with his whole ego, was like, well, Perturabo, I'll tell you about all the stuff I know if you build me a stage worthy of my story. He built like a 200,000 seat theater with his legion like overnight in like a few hours. It's stupid for a one-time use. Like, think about the biggest stadium where you live and like multiply it by two or three, and with bathrooms and everything. I don't know, dude. They don't say anything about Legionary. It's in their suit. Never mind. We're not gonna go there. But that's what he does. When the Emperor admonishes Lorgar, I'll bear of the word, penna of the Lectitio Divinatotus. Lorgar was done dirty. I cannot be convinced otherwise. Dirty! He wrote the Warhammer Bible. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not what we're talking about today. But when the Council of Nicaea was held, a great dais and event center for all the Primarchs to show up and the Emperor to on Lorgar. Perturabo built that, and Perturabo did not know what he was building that for. He's the greatest constructor among his brothers, and it was not told to him that he was building a place for one of his brothers to be shamed. And then old Night Haunter occurs. I mean, he got Haunter in his nickname. We knew he was cray. Night Haunter asked Perturabo to build him a maze in a ship. And Perturabo doesn't know what he's going to use it for. Ends up using it to torture Vulcan over and over because Vulcan's a perpetual. And he keeps taking him out, and Vulcan keeps coming right back, and he tortures a Primarch into insanity. Because that is the curse of immortality. Mm. Perturabo's that kind of creative. Each one of the Primarchs has one of these unique creative traits. But to be able to build cities worth of construction overnight is stupid. That's an unfathomable amount of organization and manpower. That's some ant level. That's some ant stuff. That's something ants and termites do, and bees. All right, that is scary. But for all their efficiencies, for all their talents, for all their victories, and for Perturabo's exactness and ruthlessness, he still fell second, third, fourth to Horus. Because let's be real, Sanguinius was second to Horus in the Emperor's eyes. They all called him the pretty one. I'm sorry, the most beautiful, the angel. He's the pretty brother. Everybody's jealous of the pretty brother. There's the powerful brother and the pretty brother. Those are the favorites. But Sanguinius didn't turn against the Emperor. Perturabo, his status quo that was holding it down, got pushed a little bit too far. And he said, you know what? I'm going to see what this rebellion's all about. If you read the Angel Exterminatus, while he is traitor to the Emperor, he's not 100% sold on Horus. He's willing to listen to Fulgrim's foolishness. As much as I love Fulgrim, I know what he is. I'm not blind to the foolishness of Fulgrim, okay? I'm aware. But he hears it. Because Perturabo's goal, like so many other Primarchs, is just to make themselves seen. He wants to be seen. Father, you have forgotten me. Inside of each of those Primarchs is a little boy that wants their father to see them. Even if everyone's not trying for a promotion, not trying to climb the ladder, not trying to take your job, everybody's not after your job. You can have your job. But one thing that all of us want on some level is acknowledgement. Good job. I see what you did. Excellent work. Thank you for holding it down. Is that so hard? You know how many companies could stay operational if we learned how to give like nice constructive feedback like that? That didn't even cost you anything. You have to mean it. Can't be faking it. But how many of his sons would have not turned against him had he just said, attaboy, once in a while? How many of our youth might not be so wayward had they had the right adults in their life at some time telling them how great they were, that they were going to make it, that they are worthy and worth it. Those things add up over time, and then it trickles into a person's psyche and becomes part of who they are. I know. It's rather sad. But that's the Fourth Legion. What are your thoughts? What do you think of my new camera? Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you would like to go deeper into other types of discussions when we talk about being your authentic self and getting deep into communication skills, please absolutely join memberships. That's what we do over there. Ooh, wait. No, I can't end my video. I gotta start calling out my members. I have one. I need to start doing that at the beginning of the video. I was about to end this video and just not do what I said I was going to do, and then that would have made me a liar. Aha, there it is. Aha, Shay21 is our first member. Thank you so much, Shay, and hopefully we just grow from there. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.